What is the essence of Chanukah? It's interesting that in the Tefillah of Alanissim, we don't mention the Nes of Pach HaShemen. We don't mention the mitzvah, but rather, Hedliku Neres B'chatzos Kodshecho, V'kavu Shmoynis Yemei Chanukah Elu Lahoidois Ulahalel. There's another gersa, V'kavu Shmoynis Yemei Chanukah Elu Bahalel V'hoidoya. The mitzvah is Adlukas Haner. That's Persum Anissa. But the essence, the mahus, is Halal V'hoidoya. I don't know whether you are all aware. Where does the Rambam write all the halachas of Hallel? Sholosh Regolim, Rosh Chodesh, all the halachas of Hallel. Where does the Rambam write these halachas? First Perek of Hilchas Chanukah. Chanukah has two prokim. Perek Aleph Beis is Dinei Purim v'Megillah. Perek Gimel Daled is Hilchas Chanukah. It's interesting. The first Perek in Hilchas Chanukah is not about Adlukas Haner. All the dinam of Halal. Not only Halal of Chanukah, all the general dinam of Halal. And with a little drop of humor, many times I said, if the Rambam would turn to me, and the Rambam would say, Kvoid Rabbeinu Amin Chasosha, I don't need your help in Birur Halacha. You're a great guy, but I really don't need your help in dictating halacha. I decided, and I have an opinion in every halacha that is relevant to a yid. And I codified Kol HaTorah Kulo, all the Taryag mitzvahs, and the Rambam was the only one, no one before or after, to codify and to pasken Kol HaTorah Kulo. The Rif before the Rambam, the Tur after the Rambam, only dealt with mitzvot hanoagot bizman hazeh. The Rambam was the only one that took upon himself all the Taryag mitzvahs, all Shishu Sidra Mishnah, Zruim, Kachem, Taharas, he left nothing out. And he forged an opinion in every shaila, in every halacha. And the Rambam would also tell me, I also decided, and that is a huge manifestation of the Rambam's genius, I decided that all the Torah and all the halachas fit into 14 categories. And those are the 14 categories of the Yad HaChazokah. And all the halachas and all the Taryag mitzvahs fit into one of these 14 categories. And those are the Yud Aleph Tzvom of Yad HaChazokah. I just want you to do some technical work for me. Here are the halachas, here are the categories, just fit in which halacha goes where. The Rambam would ask me to help him in that aspect. It is clear to me that I would put all the halachas of halal in Sefer Ahava. Somewhere between Kriya Shema and Tefillah and Mea Brochas B'Kol Yoim, I would fit in halal. That's what I would think. And that is why the Rambam didn't ask me to do it. Because the Rambam decided differently. And the Rambam put all the halachas of halal in Hilchas Chanukah in Sefer Zmanim, not in Sefer Ahava. And this proves that the essence of Chanukah, the essence is not Adlukas Haner. Adlukas Haner is Pesum Anissa, but the essence is V'kavu Shmoynis Yemei Chanukah Elu Lahoidois Ulahalal. These are days of Halal V'hoidoya. So the famous Kasha of the Bes Yosef, why do we have 8 days of Chanukah? The Nes was only 7 days. And I remember as a young child, many, many years ago, more than 60 years ago, I was always fascinated by my father's huge bookshelf in Borough Park. That bookshelf was about 5% of the Sforim I have today. But as a little boy, to me it looked huge. And I loved to look at the Sforim, even though I didn't understand a word. I was a little boy. And there was one sefer that fascinated me more than all the others. It was a little blue sefer When my father passed away, I looked for that sefer, but I didn't find it, Got lost somewhere, because to me it was nostalgic. A little blue sefer called Ner Lameya, 100 terutzim on the kasha of the Beis Yosef. And as a little boy, I wondered, how could there be 100 terutzim on one kasha? How could that be? I didn't get it. Recently, my Eniklich showed me a sefer, 700 terutzim of the kasha of the Beis Yosef. No, 700 terutzim on one kasha. Probably a few hundred don't make much sense, but anyway. So the famous kasha of the Beis Yosef. Why are there 8 days of Chanukah if the nes was only 7 days? Minchas Osher Chelik Beis, Siman Aleph, the first Siman of Chanukah, I wrote a mahalach on this kasha, and I think that is the best of all the 700. But that's not for today. But one of the terutzim that has most appealed to me, the Ramban writes in the end of Parshas Boy, and this is a very well-known Ramban. I quoted it 1,000 times, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give me the ability to quote it many more times to come. The Ramban writes, why is it important that we remember the super miraculous events of yore? Yetzias Mitzrayim. Why is it so important? And the Ramban writes, Min hanisim hagedolim v'hamefresomim, or the moide benisim hanestorim, sheheim yesod kol haTorah kulo. When we remember the supernatural events, the really miraculous one, that have no explanation in Teva, in nature, we will learn to appreciate the miracles of concealment, the everyday miracles, the miracle of life. The miracle of life which is greater than any other miracle. And it's a miracle not 1 day, not 2 days, not 8 days, but when you realize the miraculous events, hopefully we will appreciate the day-to-day miracles. And that is most important. Sheheim yesod kol haTorah kulo, writes the Ramban. So I say the first 7 days are 7 days of nes. The 8th day is, before you say goodbye to Chanukah, this is for the Nisim HaNistorim. This is the nes of Teva. You remember the Gemara at the end of Masechet Tanis? The daughter of Reb Chanina ben Dosa prepares Neiras Shabbos, and she wants to be Madlik Neiras Shabbos. Nothing happens. And to her horror, she realizes that it's not oil, it's vinegar. And we don't have any oil. And she comes crying to her father, Abba, we don't have Neiras Shabbos. How does he respond? Biti, ma ichpas lach? Mi shomer Hashem and v'yadlik, yoim alachem es v'yadlik. And lo and behold, she lights, and it burns beautifully. What a nes. Anybody that knows Reb Chanina ben Dosa is not nespoil from Nisim, He was the miracle, he was the wonder man. He had Nisim every day. What we need to be nespoil is the sprach. He tells his daughter, "Man tayr kind, is there any difference between oil and vinegar to HaKadosh Baruch Hu?" Of course there's a difference. Oil is inflammable. Vinegar is not. But Reb Chanina ben Dosa asked his daughter, and why is that? Because that's Teva. Who dictated Teva? Rabbeinu Shel Olam. I believe that Rabbeinu Shel Olam will decide now that in your little Ner Shabbos, in our little home, vinegar will be inflatable, just like oil. It's the same. It's the same, he tells his daughter. My ichpas lach. Misha omer Hashem v'yadlik, yoim alachem es v'yadlik. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all the same. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's no difference at all between natural and supernatural. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's no difference between Kriyas Yam Suf and seeing the beauty of the ocean every day. It's all the same to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have a beautiful pshat, liyosed loivoi. V'mola ha'oretz deus Hashem kemayim liyam mechasim. There will be no need for Kriyas Yamsef. We will all witness the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kasher mayim liyam mechasim. There will be no need for miracles. And we will realize that nature and miracle, it's all the same. It's all Ritzon Hashem. So Reb Chanina ben Dosa, in his simplicity, tells his daughter, why are you crying? So we don't have oil, we have vinegar. But I believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want you to cry. And he wants us to have Ner Shabbos. So right now vinegar will be inflammable like oil. Why not? Does it make a difference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So the first 7 Eidos of Chanukah are keneged the nes of Chanukah. B'nei bino, yemei shemoino, kavo shir iranonim. After lighting 7 Eidos, l'shem hanes, the 8th Eid is shemen. Shemen, chometz, shemen, doesn't make a difference. Everything is miracles. Our life is a miracle. The greatest miracle of all. And therefore, Chanukah are days of Halel v'hoidoya. And that is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu made this nes. They should realize that the greatest nes was the victory in war. Tmayim b'tehorim, rabim yad miatim, geborim b'yad chaloshim. Everything is a miracle. Our life is a miracle. And therefore, Yemei Chanukah are Yemei Halel v'hoidoya. V'kavu shmoinis Yemei Chanukah eila lahoidois ulahalel. And the Ramban writes in that very same paragraph at the end of Parshas Boi, Tachles hayetzira harishoino, ve'ein le'el elyon chefetz betachtoinim, ki im sheyeda ha'odam v'yodeh le'eloikov shebaroi. So many swarm were written about Tachles Habriya. The philosophers have their way and the Kabbalists have their way. What is the world all about? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu create the world? Why did he choose us? And according to the Ramban, it's so simple. One line. Tachlis hayetzira harishoina, ve'ein le'el elyon chefetz betachtoinim, ki im sheyeda ha'odam v'yodeh le'elokav shebra'o. 2 things. Sheyeda v'sheyodeh. Recognize and give thanks. Did anybody say this before the Rambam? I think so. The Novi Yeshayahu, Perek Mem Gimel, Amzu yotzarti li, tihilosi yisaperu. And Rashi writes, Amzu yotzarti li, kedei shitilosi. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us. We are the ones to sing the praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to offer gratitude. I shared this thought many times because it's relatively new to me and it just occurred to me a few months ago. And I find it very inspiring. What is the first thing we say every day in the morning? What does Moida Ani mean? In Lashon Kodesh, modeh means 2 things: admission and gratitude. Probably most of you sometime learned the sugya of Moida b'miktsas, Bov Metzia Dav Gimel, Ksubas Yud Ches, Git Nun Aleph, many other sources. Moida b'miktsas is not saying thank you. He's in denial. He denies 50% of your claim. So what does Moida b'miktsas mean? He admits 50%. So Moida could mean hoda'ah or hodaya. Admission, recognition, or gratitude. So what do we mean when we say every day in the morning, Moida ni lefanecha zalta minishmosi? It is clear to me that we mean both. Why do I think so? Because according to the Gemara, the Rambam, the Tur, and the Shulchan Aruch and Siman Mem Vav Orach Chaim, when you open your eyes in the morning, what is the first thing you're supposed to say? Who remembers? not Moidani. Moidani is nowhere to be found in Chazal or the Rambam or the Torah Shulchan. The very earliest source to the Nusach of Moidani Lefonecha was Seder Hayom Shel Moshe ben Mochio. According to the Gemara, Rambam, Tur Shechanoch, when you open your eyes, you're supposed to say, Elokai neshama shenotato bi. Why don't we do so? The Tur writes in the name of the Rosh, because we don't want to be Moitzi Shem Shemayim before Natilas Yadayim. And that is why we say Moidani. So Moidani must be an abbreviation of Elokai neshama. Otherwise, we're going against Chazal. What do we say in Elokai neshama? Elokai. נשמה שנותרת בי טהרוי, אתו ברוסו, אתו יוצרתו, אתו נפחתו בי. That is before giving thanks. That is recognition. אתו ברוסו, אתו יוצרת, אתו נפחתו בי. And only then do we go on. כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי, מוידני לפניך. So when you get up every day in the morning and you say Moidani, you need to have two different kavanas. You could say it twice. It's not a brocha levatola. But you don't need to say it twice. But you need to bear in mind. First is recognition. I opened my eyes this morning and I don't take it for granted. Many people go to sleep by night and they don't wake up in the morning. And if I open my eyes this morning, it is because you decided to give me another day. You decided that I deserve one more day. And that is why I thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when you say Moidani, first, it's admission, it's recognition. Atu berosa, atu yatzarta, atu nafachto bi. And that is why I thank you, Hashem. And if that is the way you get up in the morning and you say, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for giving me one day, I think you're going to make that day meaningful. You're going to make that day meaningful. If this is what you feel every day in the morning when you get up, it is you that decided to give me another day. You're going to see to it that you're not going to waste this day. You're going to make something out of it. Sheyeda ha'odam v'yodeh le'elikav sheberoi. Sheyeda, recognition. Sheyodeh, and that is gratitude. And that is what Chanukah is all about. Kavi shmonis yemei Chanukah elo lehoidois o lahalel l'shimcha godolum. That is our tafkid, and that is tachlis abriya. So let us thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for every day and for every moment. Al kol nashima v'nashima tahal aliyah. So tonight we lit the first net of Chanukah, and these neiros shine with the Or HaGonuz. We should be Zercha B'Kora B'Yameinu to see the Or Shenignaz K'Or Shivas Yemei Bereshis, and we should be Zercha to see the Kohen Gadol Meitiv Umadlek Es Aneiros B'Menoiros Amoyer B'Mehero V'Yomeinu Amen.